Well. It's another night for Teague's Take. This is a special edition that we're going to be having tonight. So I'm going to try something a little bit different. So y'all going to have to hang in there with me because this one is all about Ask Teague. Ask Teague. So oftentimes I get a lot of questions on social media, which you can find me at Teague Football on Twitter and Instagram. So I get a lot of questions about a lot of different things. It could be about football, it could be about basketball. Just what am I thinking? How do I feel about it? What about the Cowboys? What about the Packers? Anything, sports. And so I like to try to give the opportunity for people to really ask their questions, and I don't know, maybe I can answer them because it gets kind of hard to go back and forth sometimes when you're in other platforms. And I don't know. I just think it's good that you can also see someone's face when they're giving you an answer too, so you really know what's up. So, for those of you that are listening, post live show on one of the podcast channels, I know you can't see me or you can't ask any of the questions, but you surely can hear my answers to some of the questions that have been posed to me or some that may be coming in during the live show. So I'll be sitting here alone today. This doesn't happen very often where I am at home by myself. JT is doing some football stuff with JP2. My wife Consuela is over at his house helping with the grandkids. So it's very rare that I get a chance just to be able to sit here and do this. So what's up, Craig? Glad that you are here always. You're a trooper. I call you a Teagster all the time. And I do appreciate your support because you're always there for me. Doesn't matter if it's a podcast or something else. So I do appreciate it. So before we get into all this, make sure that you're subscribing to the Teague's Take podcast channel on YouTube. Hit that little bell so you know what's going on because things are about to change here pretty soon. We're going to stay on Wednesday nights, but it'll be more frequent every week. It is a little bit tough for JT right now just because he's got a new son. Our grandson, my grandson's name is George Theo Teague II, so I'm a proud granddaddy. What's up, Pam? Very glad to hear you, and I know you got a question for me that I'll be able to answer for you here in a little while, Pam. We got things going on with my grandchild. Got two now, so it's been a busy time for us over here in Teague land out in Kansas. But anyway, make sure you guys are subscribing to this page, to the Teague's Takes podcast page. Hit the notification buttons because we're going to have more shows Wednesday nights, weekly, just because it's going to be football season. It's going to be a lot of Alabama talk, a lot of NCAA talk, a lot of Cowboy talk, like we always do. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Teague Football on Twitter and Instagram. I'm having a good time with that. I'm trying to get verified on both of those. I can't seem to break the code or whatever, but so I'm having fun with that. And I do want to give a special announcement because Craig, you just made me think of something about the George Teague coin, and I just had some other ones made. But one thing that we did was my family, we have created the George Teague and Family Endowed Scholarship Fund at the University of Alabama. Yeah, that's supposed to get a big clap. I'm kind of excited about that. The George Teague and Family Endowed Scholarship, where we can help people attend the university, particularly through athletics, that aren't in a full scholarship and things of that nature. So we need to be able to support and want to give back to the university as much as possible. So I typically don't ask for any kind of money or help or support, but I think for this cause, I am going to ask for some charitable donations into our fund because it will be charitable. You can write it off and things of that nature. And the more money I can put into that fund, it will be great. So stay on the lookout for that. Craig, I promised to get you the original coin I told you that I would get you, but I made some additional ones. I'm not going to break all of that out right now, just because it's going to be part of the fundraiser deal. Thank you, Pam. it is kind of it's pretty special to our heart. Something we wanted to do for some years, and here we are. So, all right, so that's where we are right now. So let's get into the bulk of this. And why did I want to do this? So I think what most people don't get is, so I try to interact as much as possible um, on social media. I do work daily as an athletic director, so I can't be sitting on there on social media all day, every day. But I like to try to answer back just because I like the engagement. That's why I like doing this podcast, because we can engage. But what gets funny to me personally, funny to me, is the amount of DMs that I get when people ask me questions about certain things. They don't put it in the feed. Maybe they don't ask on the show or whatever. And I just wonder why people do that. Are they afraid to talk to me? Because I think I don't go off on people. I don't say stuff. I don't fight with people on social media. I think it's dumb. What's up? What's up? I see my sister-in-law on here, Tessie. Y'all need to make sure y'all follow her. She's putting out a lot of good stuff on Instagram as well. And she got some big things going, getting ready to make some of that money, honey. Stay prayed up about that. So why do people want to DM me about stuff? So I got this one. I'm going to tell you right now. I got one, and someone asked me for real. And they may be listening. It might make them mad or something, but it doesn't matter. Here's the question. Did I enjoy playing football at the University of Alabama? Now, so one of y'all tell me, how am I supposed to answer that? Seriously, put it in the chat. If someone you're George Teague right now, someone DMs you and says, "Hey, did you enjoy playing football at the University of Alabama?" How do you think about that, and you figure out what am I supposed to say? I told you I'm involved in try to be engaged and try to answer DMs and all that kind of stuff. What would you guys say to that? Well, okay, I see you, Mr. Jenkins. That's why I'm going to beat your butt in fantasy football. But anyway, so I get some weird questions like that, and sometimes I just like to give. I know people want to know what I'm thinking, what our family's thinking, and I don't mind that. So I want to take this time to be able to answer questions for whatever you guys got. Those of you that are here now, whatever you got on your mind, you need to go ahead and ask it. Now I'm going to start with Pam, because she sent me a question on Twitter. I thought it was an excellent question. So she knows that I indulge in cigars. Her husband is involved in cigars, like to smoke cigars too. So she asked, what kind of cigar am I going to have after the show tonight? So I'm going to show you here in just a minute, but I need to be able to tell you that, one of my favorite cigars, or the favorite brand of cigars that I like to smoke, are Xenos. I like to go with the platinum when I'm feeling really, really good about something. Yes, because it's a $30 cigar, and I don't buy cigars like that all the time. But that's kind of how I started. Out in Vegas, someone gave me a cigar, or I decided I need to go ahead and smoke one because I was out in Vegas and I wanted to go ahead and live it up. And man, did I love them, and I still do. So, to Pam's answer. So for those of y'all listening later, you can't see it. I'm going to tell you what it is, but let me see if I can get her to see this, if I can get the lighting right. Kind of hard for me to do. I don't know if you can see that. It's a H. Upman Habana Cuban cigar, Connoisseur A. It's a pretty expensive cigar. This was gifted to me by a good friend of mine, David Dupree. He's a cigar connoisseur. And so I've been holding on this to a little bit, but I think, because I got a new grandson, week old, named after me, I want to indulge in this tonight because I'm celebrating the first time that I've actually done this podcast like this by myself as well. So, Pam, and to your husband, and to those of you, G-Man, this is what I'm going to have afterwards. All right. That's one question down. So I saw another question that came in here from, sorry, Realism Sports Talk. If y'all not haven't heard it, listen to this podcast. You need to. He's been celebrating over 100 episodes. Gives a lot of stuff. The only bad thing is he's a Commander fan. What was the instant feeling of winning the national championship? Is his question. Man, let me tell you, it was surreal. You know, I've won some big games before, and it was nothing like winning a national championship, especially at that time when there was only one game. The way that you had to do it, there's one game on television. You know, there was so much build up around the game that we had. And I remember being interviewed. You know, I had the two big plays, and I was being interviewed after the game. And I think people still laugh at it because I really didn't know how to answer the questions because I was so excited. I wanted to get in the locker room. I wanted to go be around people, and I was just all the raw emotions were just there with the game. So it was fantastic. Now I can tell you, when I ran into the locker room, I couldn't stay in there very long because it was super hot. I thought I was going to cramp up already as it was just from the game. But it was a fabulous feeling to be able to do that. I'm very proud to have a national championship ring. Our rings don't look like they did back then, like they do now. But yeah, it's a great feeling. Here's another question. Hey George, do you still keep in touch with Coach Stallings? John Ferguson. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, so I've seen him a little bit, and I haven't been up to his house yet, but we have a lot of former players that come in town to go see him. You know, he's getting a little bit older, moving a little bit slower, and anytime I can talk to Coach, to be able to call him and just say what up and tell him I love him, I do, because he had a big, big impact on my life. The type of man that I am, the type of football player that I was. I do get a chance to see him in other opportunities because we get a chance to get in some of the same circles with speaking engagements or Alabama functions and things of that nature. So, you know, he's just a big, big mentor to me. Great question there. Hey, Craig, I see you ask if I'm going to the Iron Bowl this year and can we meet up? Now, see, that's a question right there that some people would try to send and not be one to put someone out. So I do have every intention on going to the Iron Bowl this year. I think I'll go to more Alabama games this year than I have in the past. And you want to know why? Anybody got to guess why I'm going to attend more? All right, I'll give you the answer. Because this is the 30-year reunion of winning a national championship. So we're going to have a reunion at the Mississippi State game, but I should also be back for the Vanderbilt game. Planning on being back for the Auburn game, and it's probably another one I can't remember. There's like 3 or 4. So I do plan on being at several. I've already kind of notified my school that I need to be doing different things, in particular this year. So if it all works out and we can catch up and we can meet up, then we will. Craig. All right. All right. Cowboys fan. He says, can this year's rookies contribute, specifically Sam Williams? This is a Dallas Cowboys question. And I know we're just getting into the training camp of the Dallas Cowboys and what it looks like. And, there's so much talk about really Dak Prescott. Is he a top 10 quarterback? What is Michael Parsons going to do? Uh, I just think there's so much swirling around about the Cowboys, and I'm kind of torn. I got to be honest about that. So, um, how do I think we're going to fit? Are we going to have more than one playoff win? It is going to depend on some of these people that we brought in. I don't think we did. We didn't have the splash. Jerry Jones has been talking about that a little bit. We haven't had the splash in the offseason with rookies or free agencies, perhaps, about that. So when you look at a young buck coming in, it is very, very hard to try to break away unless you are just a mad dog superstar. So if you have someone that's coming in, and the only person really talking about is the left tackle, with the help. I've been around some of the rookies and some of the younger guys. Can Sam Williams contribute? Yes. Will he be impactful? I don't see things like that. I'm kind of torn about that. I think we got a lot of stuff swirling around. I won't beat on the Cowboys too much because you guys got a lot of questions here. But it just, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about what the Dallas Cowboys are going to be this year. I'm optimistic, but I'm nervous because if we do win a playoff game, one or whatever it is, it's going to be hard on Jerry to figure out what he's going to do with as a coach. All right, okay. Thank you, James Knox, for just giving me congratulations on the family. It's kind of cool to be a granddad twice over, especially at 51. Not too bad. All right. Pam asked another question: when I'm in Tuscaloosa, do I go to R&R Cigars? Actually, I don't. When I go to Tuscaloosa, I don't think I visited a cigar place while I'll be there. So that is a place that I need to go. When I get back into Montgomery, there is a place not too far from my dad's house that I will go and visit and get some things. But since I will be back in Tuscaloosa quite a few times this year, I guess I will check it out. Please make sure I know exactly where that is and don't let me forget about it. And if it's someone I need to support, Pam, I will definitely do that. Okay. One more from Craig. Who would you say was your favorite position coach or head coach? Ooh. Okay. I don't know if you mean college or pros, but I'll start with the pros. One of my favorite position coaches was Dick Duran. He's when I was in Green Bay. He was one. I just felt like he just kind of gelled and understood me and kind of taught me or coached me a little bit different than someone else. I also like Mike Zimmer, who was the most recent, or was a head coach at the Minnesota Vikings. Really, really think he elevated my game once I came to the Cowboys. And when I was with Alabama, Bill Oliver was a great coach. He was a hard ass now. He got on it, but I really like playing for him. And then, like I said, Coach Stallings meant a tremendous amount to me. But so did Bill Curry. And he was the one that recruited me there. I only got to play with him a year. So that's kind of where I am with that. This was an interesting one for those y'all have been watching me on social media, how to get the privilege of working with Kroger. Man, that one just fell in my lap. I've been doing so much stuff with barbecuing and different things. And it is funny that when people look at your social media stuff, someone recommended me to them. And it was another company that said, hey, that worked with Kroger. They knew who I was. Kroger was asking them about a certain fit they needed to have to do with this, and they gave the recommendation and asked if I would be interested in it. So we worked out the deal, and I've been working with them now, and I think it's going to continue to go further. Okay. So, Riley, glad you're here. Justin, I think I saw someone, happy late birthday. I don't know if I told you happy birthday or not, but I'm definitely glad you're in. Um, I see that you're a big Sam Williams fan, of course, but that's okay. All right, let's see. Scrolling through. Oh, I'll come back to Pam and some others in here. I got this one from John Ferguson. Let me see if I can find it. Because someone else asked about this on Twitter a little bit about what I feel about the NIL. He's going a little bit specific about how do I think the NIL is going to affect high school sports. I think it's going to be bad for high school sports. So I want to talk about it in general when it comes to the college and high school. I think the NILs have definitely changed the game. I've always been a proponent of paying at even allowing for, I shouldn't say paying them to play football in college, but allowing athletes to capitalize off their name, image, and likeness. That's something I did not have the opportunity to do, and it irked me all the time because I knew other people were making money off of my name, image, and likeness, and I could not. So I was a proponent for it. I think it's just gone haywire. It's not being executed the right way. So it's going to change the game. And with the way that it's creeping down in the high school in certain states, it's going to create, again, more lack of loyalty to a high school. I don't know. It's going to change a lot. We already got selfish kids, selfish families, things of this nature. If you start paying people and they have to be at a certain school or a certain state, man, I tell you what, it's not going to be good. So I want to pose this to you guys out here. I don't know. Have you guys heard of what Texas Tech did with their NIL stuff there? And someone just gave me this information 3 or 4 days ago, and then I read about it yesterday. Texas Tech, big donor out there, found out a way. It dropped $200 million to Texas Tech for NIL deals and said, hey, all 85 scholarship players are going to at least get $25,000 from our company. What do they have to do for their name, image, and likeness? They got to do some charity work, be good Samaritans or whatever. So everybody's like that. Well, then, of course, because of Title IX and things, they said, well, what about, you can't just do it for guys. What are you going to do about for other girls' sports? So he gave some more money and said, hey, we can do this for some female sports as well. So I don't know. Maybe that's good. Maybe it isn't. I just think that it's changing the whole dynamic of sports when it's not even becoming about name, image, and likeness and things like this, where they're saying, well, we're going to use your name, image, and likeness. You can't see me. I'm doing air quotes for those of you who listen to a post. Because they're just asking them to do some charity stuff. All right. Glenn Curtis, did I say that right? Curtis said, who's the best defensive coordinator that you played for? Woo-wee. Well, we had a pretty doggone good defense in Alabama. So if I did have 2 defensive coordinators at Alabama. And Bill Oliver, he was the man, master plan to put us together so we can win the national championship. In the pros, I had multiple defensive coordinators, but I think hands down I got to go with Mike Zimmer. Not only was he a good position coach, he was a damn good defensive coordinator in mind. Doesn't matter what people think about him, in his later part of his career and all this kind of stuff. But man, you think about those defenses that we had in the early 90s and winning the Super Bowls, it was because of a guy like this. Him, Dave Campo, Clancy Pendergast, all these guys putting their heads together. It was absolutely amazing. So that was an easy one for me. Mike Zimmer. All right, let's go back to Pam real quick. Pam says, during the football season, do you watch many NFL games or only watch the Cowboys, Green Bay, and Miami? Pam, I watch football all day long. Yeah, I watch the Cowboys, but I watch any team that's on. And matter of fact, that's why I got the red zone, so I can have a lot of different games on at the same time, or just let it flip, go back and forth. Split screens where I can have 3 or 4 games on at a time. I'm a football fanatic. It starts on Thursday or whatever. Um, Friday night football for high school, Saturday, college, Sunday, all day pros. And I don't really care. I just like to see it. I still try to see trends and study and see what's going on. But my household knows that pretty much Saturday and Sunday is going to be all about football for me. And it's not only the Cowboys. I will go to Cowboy games, so sometimes I have to miss some of the other games. But I just keep up with it on my phone, on the screen, to see what's happening there. If the Cowboys are away, then I'm watching a whole lot of football, so that's good. Okay, let's see. Who's this from Huntsville? SPH Huntsville. I didn't see Katie play any man in his film. Well, he's gonna have to play some man. We already know that. I know. So one of the questions that someone actually had was about, do I think the Bama secondary, how good are they going to be? I think they're top notch. It's going to be a big year for the defensive side of the ball at Bama. They're going to be scary good. People are comparing them to former teams, including the one that I played on. I think that's great. I think they're going to be really good, but they still got to execute. And I think the better that our secondary can be, that can help us solidify it, because the way this game is today, you got to have some DB. So I'm really looking forward to what the secondary does to match what they're going to do up front with the front seven. I think it's going to be a terror. I think that Alabama will have one of the best defenses ever, just because of the talent that we have. If they can play together, we'll be able to run all different kind of stuff, and just get after folks. So, anyway, that's where I'm at. No, I haven't watched any film on him, Justin. But I think, just as much as the hype and all the stuff that I'm reading, I can't. We're going to be loaded, bro. We're just going to be loaded. You know what I mean? All right. I think there's another NIL question here from G-Man. Mike, as a coach, how do you think the NFL will affect young athletes committing to college? So I should have went into this just a minute ago. And I got to get this person on the show. So someone was talking to me about this, about how the NIL is affecting the way recruiting is. It's actually hurting young athletes in some sense, right? When you put the transfer portal and NIL deals in, so many players in college are moving around that it is affecting the high school athlete to get into college, because they got to wait now. So they're having to go JUCO or a prep school or stuff of that nature just so they can get the scholarship. Right? So that's one piece to it. The commitment, I think you're saying, or what you're asking me about, is are they going to ride for the brand? Are they going to ride for Bama? Are they going to ride for whoever? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to hurt people and their loyalty to that, because they're going to be chasing the almighty dollar. That's what I think. Okay. All right. Okay, Tessie, I see that you said, hey, you want to attend that reunion. It's going to be September 22nd is the game against Mississippi State. No, I'm sorry. October 22nd against Mississippi State in Tuscaloosa. I'll be going down there early. Me and Consuelo going to fly in, get down there. We got some events we got to do on that Friday. Then Saturday we'll be at the football game. So we're still working on all the details. And we'll see how that turns out. Richard, yes, sir. One of my favorite people on Twitter as well. Richard and Pam are always positive individuals, have great conversation with me on Twitter. Y'all should join the talk as well. But Richard's question was, if rules were different then, would I have won number 13 in the National Football League? And the answer is yes. Why, you may ask, why would I have done it? I wanted it then. We just couldn't have it because of the rules. Here's what most people don't know. 13 was a family tradition that we had. So my older brothers, I have 6 older brothers, 2 older sisters. Majority of my brothers all played sports, and the favorite number in our family was 13. So I was always trying to get to that number. In high school, I couldn't get it because someone else had it, and I ended up wearing number 35. When I got to Bama, that was the number I asked for and what I wanted, so I was finally able to get to number 13. I could not wear it at the time because once I got into the pros, because of the rules at the time. Defensive backs weren't allowed to wear those numbers in the teens. So that's how I flipped and went to 31. So although I love my 31 number, if it would have been an option to wear 13 back in the day, I would have done it. What do you think about that, Richard? That help you out a little bit? Okay. Mr. Jenkins asked, what if anyone what other offers did I have or options coming out of high school? I had a lot of options. One of the things that I did is I got all my letters and I put them up in my room, had them all up on the wall. Ivy League, military schools, mostly SEC schools, some ACC schools, not a whole lot of stuff out west. So I had a lot of things, but it came down to pretty much 5 schools for me, and it may surprise some of you, but I wanted to be an engineer coming out of school, an electrical engineer, as a matter of fact. So Georgia Tech was one of the schools that I wanted to go to. Auburn was one of the schools that I wanted to go to. Of course, Alabama. Clemson was another school that I wanted to go to. Vanderbilt was another school that I wanted to go to that I had offers from. And Georgia. So Clemson kind of fell out of the picture. They didn't really like what I was doing. I took my trip down to Auburn. I did not like the trip down there. In the end, it came down between Alabama and Georgia Tech, actually, as my top 2 final schools. Having the chance to go to Atlanta and get a degree from that place was very, very important to me. Oh, I forgot to tell you the West Point because, my military background. I really considered that and probably would have went, but I just didn't want to commit the 6 years to them post graduation or playing football. So anyway, my last 2 were Georgia Tech and Alabama. Alabama was 10-2, I believe. Georgia Tech at that time was 1-9. Boom, boom. Here I come, Alabama. All right. Let's see what Justin says on here. Tony Lang, I mentioned on the previous podcast that to us that John Cullen should be in the College Football Hall of Fame. I agree. Why is he not mentioned as a candidate? Okay, so what I've learned is you got to have some pretty influential and powerful people to try to help you get into the College Hall of Fame. Sometimes you got to have the backing, you got to have the networking, you got to be involved, and you got to have someone that can kind of push and get you on the ballot there. That's why I think it. Honest, that's without looking into it, but there you go. Okay, let's see. What is this? G-Man. So if you're getting upstanding about this, I think JT put one of these robots on our deal. So if there's something that you're doing, if you're typing in all caps, or if you're doing something, my son has a protection device on here. So that's probably what's happening. I'm not sure. All right. Let's see. Rashad. Who is faster, Chris Anderson, Sherman, or Kay Lee? Man, Kay Lee is one of the fastest dudes I've ever been around. Um, he's a track guy. He should have ran track, I believe. Honestly, they all had speed and wills, but I would say Chris was very shifty and could make people miss like Sherman. They were very, very similar, Chris Anderson and Sherman, but Kay Lee, just flat out raw speed, hands down, Kay Lee. Yes, yes, I agree with that. All right, let me scroll through and see what else I got on here. What? Why did Auburn and Clemson surprise you? So here's what I got to say about that. You guys need to remember, I was a military brat. I was not born in Alabama. I didn't go to elementary, middle, high school, middle school there. I didn't get to Alabama until I was in high school, essentially. So I didn't have those same kind of ties, maybe like others. I wanted to go to Michigan, honestly, when I was growing up. But I couldn't, they didn't offer me, I would have went to Michigan if they would have had an offer, I would say, because that was one of my main choices to go. All right. Yeah, James. That's a good one. Yeah, and made sense, right? Okay. Craig, did me and Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, get along? Absolutely, we did. Funny story about him when I came. Someone, I don't know who asked me the question about the coordinator, but Mike Zimmer was in. He was, when I first got here, was giving me a rundown on the defense. So I don't know if you remember how I got here. I got traded, then I got traded to Atlanta, then I got cut. So I ended up here with the Dallas Cowboys on the last week of um, camp or preseason. So I had to basically have a crash course on the defense because I was going to play in the last preseason game, but I only had like 1 day to prepare. So um, Mike Zimmer called me into a meeting where he can just give me the crash course and say, hey, you're just going to have to go out there. You're a smart guy. You can do what you got to do. Well, guess who was in the meeting with me? He was Deion Sanders. And so Mike Zimmer was drawn on the board, in cover 3, you got to be here. And on this formation, you got to do this. When he got done, Deion Sanders would go up to the board, erase it, and say, Teague, on cover 3, I need you to be here, and I need you to be here, and I need you to be here. And Coach Zimmer would look at him and say, don't do that, man. You play the coverage, you got other guys. So then we go on to something else. Cover 2, you got to be able to do this. You got to read this. You got to be able to cover this thing. Deion would go back, erase it. I need you to be here. I need you to be here. So it was kind of funny. But that's how what started our relationship. Playing with a guy like Deion Sanders made me a better safety or gave me the opportunity to make more plays because I knew exactly where he was going to be, and he gave me an opportunity to take something else. Said, if you take this, I'll take that. And we're going to be able to win these games if we got each other's back. So yes, we do get along. I still get a chance to talk to him. I have not been up there to watch them play yet. I wanted to go last year, but I got to go get to support him with his coaching as well. Okay, let's see. Why do some college players, this is from Pam Evans, why do some college players who excel in college ball are drafted high but not able to make it in the National Football League? Well, it's a different game. That is an absolutely great question. There are different pressures. There's a whole lot more level of professionalism that you have to have in the pros than in college. In college, they're letting you grow up, but they're still mandating. You got to go to class at this time. You're going to be at practice at this time. You're going to eat at this time. Um, very structured as an individual. They can come to your rooms and get you. you know, um, make sure you're in class. So many ways to keep guys from failing in college just because of how much they can put their hand on you. In the pros, it's not like that. Now you're living in your own house, in your own apartment. There's no curfews during the season or something. You got to be able to handle that. You get a big chunk of money or something, and depending on how you were raised or what you're doing, if you're not understanding that you can't go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and try to play on Sunday, most people can't do that. Um, that's where people get in trouble. So look at what's happening. Every time you see this stuff, what do you see in the off season? Guys not being held accountable. That's why they're doing things with, just being knuckleheads, DUIs, hitting on people, doing whatever. It's just stuff because they're let out of the cage. They're still 22, 23. They're still not as mature as they need to be. And then they get up there and then they can't adapt to it because they're still making child mistakes. And then it becomes a business, and we don't understand the business side of it until too late. I'm raising my hand because I said we. I think that's probably why I got traded up out of Green Bay a little bit, you're just thinking, hey, I just go out here and ball and play or whatever. And then they're thinking, man, you acted up a little bit. You're hanging out at the bar. They got spies. They got people everywhere. They know exactly what they're doing. They got FBI or whatever you want to call them, the Secret Service type of people that are watching what these guys are doing. They hear about it. Police are calling in. News people are calling in. People see you, and they're taking note of that, and they're trying to figure out if you're going to damage their brand or not. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, Mr. Jenkins, will you make the playoffs in the realism? Raw sports talk. She's so since we started everything. 100%. If you want to do a side bet on that, on where if I finish before you or if I finish ahead of you in the rankings, maybe we can do that. But I'm definitely going to do it. If we got 12 teams, I don't know how many teams. Maybe I should ask you how many teams we're taking. I didn't look at that on the sheet. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to be top 3 or top 4, regardless. Just because I'm good like that. So there you go. That's pretty cool about Bo Scarborough. Hey, man, maybe USFL made out big for him where he could, get a chance in the league again because he balled out. Sorry. I might be giving away what I'm drinking. Maybe I better turn like this. Is JP2 going to the football championship this year? No, sir. We were not. We're in rebuild mode. We got some work to do. We're a couple years away from being that good. One thing that we do at JP2, I'm patting myself on the back, and I'm giving all of my coaches a lot of credit because we just won the most prestigious award that we could have for private schools here. We won the Henderson Cup, which means we're the best overall co-curricular school in the state of Texas, private. Wife said, yes, side bet for a jersey. I might just give her one. Isn't she a Cowboy fan? I think I just give her one just to irk you more than anything. How many teams are going to playoffs, though, Mr. Jenkins? I'd like to know that. Okay. John Ferguson says, what's the worst NFL city to visit when you were playing? Philadelphia. Fans are stupid. Fans are obnoxious. It was just bad, man. It was just bad. You already had enough of a rivalry with them, and it hurts my heart to even know how they acted. I've seen them, how they treated people. Most people are just really kind of supportive when people get hurt, and I never forget, seeing when Michael Irvin was seriously injured with his neck, down on the ground. Most people, okay, maybe you're happy that one of your best players is about to be down, But typically, you aren't standing up and cheering when someone gets that. You sit down, you go, oh, you know, and then you clap for them when they're getting taken off the field. That ain't what happened with them, and that has made me something just have a certain way about them, regardless. Just because I don't think that's right, man. You should be doing something different, when it comes to that. Okay, James, I think you're still having happy with this having problems with those emojis or whatnot. Again, I got to tell you that that's a that's not a don't blame this on the software. So this is not the software we would normally use when JT is here with us. He's a computer guy, so we use a different software. I use this one just because it's easy for me to do and I can control it by myself. Otherwise, our our stuff would be done by JT. I'm using a different type of software. So I do know that he put on here that he had some type of I think some type of security measure that he probably hadn't loosened up yet. That's something that those computer geeks got. So I apologize for that. All right. So it says, what is wrong with giving the clapping and blowing images to Teague's natty team that changed FBS? Nothing's wrong with it, right? And we were a very good team. Did Lamar tell you later that you cost him money because you ran him down? That's from Pam. Oh, so maybe you never heard the story. He didn't say it exactly like that. What he said was to me in front of his mom, "Hey, mom, this is the reason why I couldn't buy you the house that you wanted to that I was going to get you." So yeah, maybe that's the same. You know, uh, I don't know. It's kind of hard one to kind of swallow, but I'm glad that me and Lamar are pretty cool now, and we can let bygones be good bygones and laugh about it. Well, I'm glad your wife is freaking out, but hey, we'll talk about that. Maybe I'll gift you with something. Maybe I can get into the league for free if I send you a jersey to you. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, new person, Ralph Estrada. What made you want to sign with the Cowboys? All right, I don't think I've ever got that one ever. So let me tell you how this went down and how I ended up with the Cowboys. So after I got traded from Green Bay to the Atlanta Falcons, and 3 weeks later I got cut from the Atlanta Falcons, I was pretty pissed, as you probably can imagine. And this is that time where you're trying to figure out, man, am I really going to make it in the National Football League? You get traded and cut. This is, going into year 4, that whole bubble thing. Hey, guys don't make it 4 years and blah, blah, blah. And I was sour. I'm going to tell you, I was a straight up butthole to people because I couldn't understand it. I knew I could play. I didn't know nothing about the business side, as I was talking about earlier. And I got caught up in it. I really did. Salary and money, and I could not figure it out. So I didn't know. So I had a bad attitude. So after I got cut, and a couple teams called, Arizona called and said, "Hey, we want to come out, kind of try out, see if you make the team. We've been hearing some things about you, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Nah, well, if I'm just coming for that, nah, you know." Same thing with the Giants. Well, then the Cowboys called. Jerry Jones is on the phone. Uh, Dave Campbell's on the phone. And Jerry says, I don't have no bleep thing on here, so I'm just going to say the F. Jerry says, "What the F is wrong with you?" Just like that. A phone call. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, I don't know. This is just kind of weird, man. He said, you got, when you were in Green Bay, they were trying to trade you. Obviously, we didn't take you, but you went to the Atlanta Falcons. Said you get to the Atlanta Falcons were trying to trade you. So what the hell is going on? I said, man, I'm totally lost. I said, I don't know what's going on. He said, well, here's the deal, man. And he was straight up and he was honest with me. He just said, hey, we're hurting. We need another safety. He said, we got two healthy safeties, or both our backup safeties are kind of hurt and banged up. He said, if you come in, pass the physical, said you can play. You're going to be the fifth safety. You're the best safety out there. And we just didn't know what was going on. And said, well, okay, so I had to repeat it. I said, so you're telling me if I get on this plane, come out there, pass the physical, you're going to offer me a contract? And he said, yes, and you're going to play. That leads back into the other story about Dion and um, Mike Zimmer. So that's how I got to the Cowboys. That's what made me want to sign with the Cowboys. They were giving me an option to be able to play. So I hopped on the plane the next day, played in the game. The next day, rest is history. How about that? For story, Craig Young asks, what player did you not like seeing on the field? All right, Craig. Sometimes, so make sure you guys let me know if you're talking about a National Football League or in the college days, because I can't say that I was ever afraid of anybody. That sounds, maybe it sounds cocky or arrogant or something, but I really didn't have those kind of fears there. But I'm gonna tell you one, and this is in the pros, because if I'm being honest, I would say he's probably scared me to death. His name was Barry Sanders. That guy, as a safety, if he got past your defensive line, your linebackers, you really weren't going to win. So Barry Sanders for me. I didn't want to see him at all. Oh, I see Richard just answered that. I'm going to get back to that in a second because I want to ask. Well, let me get to it, then I'll come back to Glenn's question. So Richard says, I think there's some footage of Barry Sanders making GT look human. No, there is not. Go find the film, show it, prove it. That's one of the things that I tried not to do, is get caught up on his highlight films too much. Them guys were getting turned around and all that kind of stuff. I made sure that didn't happen, So anyway. All right. So back to Glenn. Best and worst visiting team locker room in the National Football League. Ooh. I don't know if there's any bad ones anymore. Back when I played, the everything about Philadelphia was bad, and you hear about all the scandals and stuff they had in there, right? And they kind of made their visitor locker room. We couldn't even get it. This is a professional stadium, man. You couldn't get everybody in the same locker room. What kind of mess is that? You know what I mean? That wasn't cool at all. That was one of the worst places. Just the whole experience about it. Not just the fans, but they try to make you uncomfortable from the beginning. I think they should make they should have had some standards about that beforehand. So that one's a bad one, and I don't think any others compare to that. Most of them were pretty fair. Indianapolis Colts, before they got to the new stadium, they weren't that great either. Up there, I didn't play up there a lot, but the one time that I did, it wasn't that cool. Okay, this one's off topic a little bit. Bama Standard. If you guys aren't supporting his podcast, you should do that as well. Look him up. He gives a lot of Bama content. It's funny stuff, but very serious stuff. Very knowledgeable. How close were you to Hulk Hogan when you worked with him in your WCW days? I wasn't real close to Hulk. That was another one of those opportunities that I had just to be able to get on that circuit and be involved with that. It was just something that, we're getting the tie into the Cowboys, being the world's greatest. Um, and it actually started a little bit earlier because if you remember, what's the guy's name? Carmichael, Steve Carmichael, I want to say is his name. He was another football player that got into um, wrestling while I was with the Green Bay Packers. So that's when we kind of really got introduced to it. And it just kind of easily led into us being able to go and be involved in that. I was not necessarily a fan of the sport. I went because we knew people and we enjoyed the atmosphere, but it was just hard for me to um, really get into it. So we weren't really that close, honestly. Some of those were paid endorsements, and it was cool to be uh, around it. Okay, while playing, which rivalry felt stronger, going against Auburn in college or going against Washington in the NFL? That was from Jenkins. Dude, I don't even know why you're throwing these softball questions out here, man, making me waste my minutes on this doggone show. Playing against Auburn was a whole much stronger than playing against the Washington Redskins. Uh, well, first of all, Auburn and Alabama are in the same state. No pro teams there. That was the matchup that had to happen. True hatred or whatnot. Washington was a rivalry, but being, you know, 3.5 hours away, um, the Cowboy dominance that we were having back in the day, it kind of pulled away a little bit from it. So it was definitely an Auburn game. All right, James, I see you in there. So you're just talking about the Commanders a little bit. I didn't know Jenkins was recruiting Washington Commanders fans to this show. All right. Did any high-ranking Cowboy officials give you the kudos for removing T.O. from the star in 2000? That's from VAQ Boys Fan Club. Can you tell me what the VAQ stands for, please? Um, Man, I love that question. So yeah, let me tell you guys how that went. Another story, I guess, that I can tell you guys. It's beautiful. Actually, I did get kudos from high-ranking officials. So let me tell you how it went. So after I got hit Terrell Owens, I got kicked out of the game. It's my first time ever being kicked out of a game. The only time I'd ever been kicked out of a game. So I really didn't know what to do. What do you do? It's not like something that they train you for. Hey, if you ever get kicked out of the game, you got to do this afterwards. Right. So they kicked me off and they basically tell me, hey, you got to go to the locker room. You can't even be on the sideline. Right. So I'm going to the sideline. I'm getting escorted into the thing. Well, the game's not over. I don't know what's going on. There's another backstory to this, but I'm going to answer your question essentially. Okay. So now I'm in there and I don't know what to do. The game's still going on. I'm like, okay, well, do I just sit in here while they out there playing the game? This third quarter, you know how long the game is. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and beat it. So I left the stadium. I didn't know that's not what I was supposed to do, but I went in my car, got in my car, and left. That was a mistake. I shouldn't have did that. Next day, after I go into work, I'm summoned. Um, Jerry Jones, head football coach, and they actually said, "Hey, man, you know what? I we truly support everything that you did. We know why you did it. We understand it. Um, basically said they were proud of me for doing it. So from the owner all the way down, uh, head coach, position coach, it was kind of like, it was a proud moment for me. But here's what they hit me with after they said it. Hey, we're very glad that you did it, but that's when it came in. We still have to fine you. So you need to expect this money to come out of your check tomorrow because fines get hit immediately. We're going to have to fine you $24,999. Appreciate your service to the team. I really had no comment other than, all right, whatever. So, yeah, maybe I got to change. I made a special announcement early on, said I really don't ever ask for money, but I'm still trying to make that money up, man. So maybe I need to put my cash app up here so I can get some of that money back from y'all, man. Just send me $1, man. Send me $2. Send me $3. Send me something, man, just so I can. No, I'm just playing. I made all that money back. We're good. Yes, I love this. Someone said George was actually responsible for holding Barry Sanders to negative yards in the playoffs. That is right. Our defense was tremendous. We had a great plan. I got some really good stories about him making me miss, though, once, maybe twice. But it wasn't nothing crazy. Bad. Ooh, that's a good one. Being on Barry's highlight reel is better than catching Derrick Henry's stiff arm. Yeah, I did get stiff arm too against the Commanders. Well, Redskins at the time. Yeah, Steve McMichael. That's what we're talking about. Hey, I appreciate you guys. I see there's a lot of stuff on here, so I only got like 3 minutes left, and then I'm gonna call it a night. Let's see what we got. Did you always just play defense? I could see you playing offense in high school. That's a great question, Mr. Jenkins. In high school, so we still had a big football team. So I was primarily a defensive player, a defensive back at Jeff Davis High School in Montgomery, Alabama. I did have the opportunity to play some offense, not a whole lot, but some trick plays where they want to put the ball on my hand, let me run it, end the rounds, line me up at tight end, do some things like that, do something kind of tricky that way. But I also was able to return kicks in high school. So I was a punt returner in high school. Pretty good one at it there too. So although I didn't play full time both ways in high school, I did get a little bit there. Okay, so last question. Then I'm out of here. They give me 45 seconds. Where did you get your Star Grill made at? It was made in the Valley in Texas. I met some people down in McAllen, Texas, that knew how to do some things. So we drew it up. We sketched it up. I used to do football camps down there. And this guy said, hey, I cut you a deal. Let's get this grill done. So that's how it was. So, all right, man. Well, I thank y'all. I got one of these on the horizon. I need to be able to get to this pretty soon here. So I thank you guys. I really appreciate this. I know that, maybe we need to do this more often. Y'all let me know if y'all like this kind of thing. Send me some comments or something stuff, and let me know if we think we should do this every now and again, or not. I don't know. I enjoy it. Full hour of questions. I think this is a good way to do some things, and just really get to know each other. So I appreciate it. Appreciate all the kind words about the grandsons and everything else. But I think this has been fun. I've enjoyed it. Maybe I enjoyed it more than you guys actually did. So let's go ahead and call it a night. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube page, if you're listening to on your podcast channel, come go lock us in at Teague's Take podcast on YouTube. Hit that bell. Be on the lookout for information about the George Tegan Family Endowed Scholarship Fund. I'm going to need you guys' help. That is the one thing I'm going to need you guys' help to help me raise some money, so that I can help some people get to the University of Alabama as well. So let's stay tight. Follow me, Teague Football, Instagram and Twitter. Other than that, man, it's been a lovely night. I'm going to go hit this cigar. All right. A lovely day, baby. We're going to holler at you.